9/9/9 portal unveiled. 8 divine truths, all spiritually awakened, must discover now. The evening air in Southwell was thick with anticipation as the villagers gathered beneath the glowing stained-glass windows of St. Michael's Church. A gentle light hovered, casting ethereal patterns on their faces, igniting spirits and hearts alike. Whispers danced like sweet melodies among the congregants. It was as if time itself held its breath, waiting for a miracle on that fateful date, 9/9/9. Mary, a devoted mother of 3, knelt at the altar, a flickering candle illuminating her tear-streaked cheeks. Her husband's shadowed existence gnawed at her, a darkness that eclipsed the hope they once shared. Miraculously, she had stumbled upon an ancient tome amid the church's sacred texts. Each page shimmered with divinity, revealing 8 truths. They called to her, awakening flickers of faith in the midst of deep despair. The first truth wrapped around her like a warm embrace. You are never alone. She could almost hear the angels echoing it in the air, lifting her heavy spirit as she clutched her rosary tightly, feeling the cool beads against her palm. The room seemed to vibrate with energy as murmurs of reassurance filled the church. A healing is coming. Someone cried out as the second truth enveloped the congregation. Their voices rose, a chorus of prayer and assurance. Every heart resonated with the knowledge that the 9/9/9 portal was closer, its spiritual significance igniting fervor within. Onlookers clutched each other's hands tighter, sensing a wave of miraculous energy surging through them, each unspoken plea echoing in the rafters above. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, a silence washed over the chapel. An electric charge filled the air, and Mary felt her heart quicken. The moment of divine revelation was near. The choir's voices merged with the whispers of the wind and the timbre of hope, ascending into the heavens like fragrant incense. The villagers knelt, abandoned to their faith, yearning for transformation, their eyes glinting with expectation. In a sudden flash, the church was engulfed in an unearthly light, and testimonies erupted, each layer of wonder cascading through the congregation. Mary held her breath as she felt a surge within her, a clarion call of hope. This was not merely about her husband. It was about renewal for all. As burdens were lifted, she clung to the notion that salvation, like a river, was flowing through them, boundless and pure. Yet, even as she bathed in the glory of this revelation, doubt crept in. Would her husband feel it too? Would he rise from the depths of addiction, embracing the truth of his salvation? The whispers of skepticism threatened to suffocate her faith as the clock struck the hour. The atmosphere thickened with divine urgency, a palpable tension that clasped the congregation in its unwavering grip, leaving their hearts racing what would come next. Would the miraculous healing they sought burst forth from their fervent prayers, or would doubt tether them to the past? The silent question hung heavily in the air, an anxious hush, steeped in unyielding hope for the dawn that beckoned from beyond the veil. As midnight chimed, the air shimmered with an almost tangible energy. The church felt alive, pulsating with divine expectation. Mary's heart raced in tandem with the rhythm of the clock, echoing the hope that filled every corner of the sacred space. She closed her eyes, envisioning the truth that had been revealed to her. Healing was within reach. Lift your eyes. The light is here. A voice rang out from the back, breaking the stillness. Eyes turned, faces illuminated by a soft golden hue, ancient beams that felt as though they were sent straight from heaven. A surge of faith swept through the villagers like an unstoppable wave. Hands were raised, prayers spoken fervently into the air, their voices rising like incense toward the heavens. Mary opened her eyes, feeling the swell of hope crescendo around her. The third truth of the tome resonated deeply within her, a reminder that love conquers all. With this unwavering truth, she began to see her husband not as a broken man, but as someone waiting for restoration. She could almost feel the weight of his struggles lifting, borne aloft on the wings of collective prayer. In that moment, Mary noticed her friend Clara, who had been battling her own demons. Clara's face glowed, tears trailing down her cheeks, reflecting the light that was filling the church. They locked eyes, and in that silent exchange, each understood the other's pain and desperation. Their hearts bound together, strengthened by a shared hope. No longer alone in their struggles, they were united in faith. As energy pulsed around them, the fourth truth whispered through the crowd, "Faith can move mountains." The villagers stood together, voices merging in a powerful declaration of belief. In their souls, they felt mountains of despair begin to tremble. The sanctuary echoed with the faith of a people daring to believe that transformation was imminent. A sudden warmth enveloped Mary, radiating from within. She placed her hands over her heart, feeling it beat stronger with each second. It transcended the physical, a wave of peace washing over her. The miracle was not just coming. It was already present, flowing through her veins like a balm. Then, amidst the fervent prayers, an unexpected stillness fell. Even the flickering candles settled into a calm glow. The moment stretched almost unbearably, a sacred pause before divine action. Just when uncertainty threatened to seep in once more, a voice pierced the silence. "Come forth, those who seek healing." It was the vicar, his spirit ignited with conviction. The invitation hung in the air as whispers rippled through the congregation. Some hesitated, others stepped forward with trembling certainty. Mary, too, felt the urge to move, to claim the healing not only for herself but for her husband, to stand in the possibility of divine intervention. As she took her first step, the room brightened even more. Faces turned, mouths parted in awe, eyes widened as the villagers witnessed the beauty of faith in motion. In this heartfelt moment, Mary felt a surge of purpose, a responsibility to take hold of the truth that was unfolding right before her. But just then, she caught sight of a figure lingering at the back of the church, a familiar shadow. It was her husband. Pain coiled tightly around her heart. Would he take the step too? Or would the darkness continue to bind him? The congregation's energy swelled, lifting Mary, fueling her courage. What awaited in the looming silence? What transformation was possible for her husband, for her community, under the flickering light of hope? With every step forward, the question loomed larger: would faith indeed conquer all, or would doubt send them spiraling back? The atmosphere thickened with anticipation, and as she stood at the edge of a miracle, a new divine revelation awaited. What awaited Mary at the altar of hope? Would she witness the spiritual breakthrough that had been sought so fervently, or would the shadows of disbelief dim the newfound light? As Mary approached the front, the air thickened with an electric anticipation. Each heartbeat reverberated with a question that held so much weight for her and all who had turned to the altar. She cast another glance at her husband, still standing at the back. His silhouette was shrouded in darkness, yet the light from within the church reached out to him, a silent beckoning for him to join this divine display of faith. "Lord, guide him," she whispered, the prayer barely escaping her lips, but bursting with the intensity of 1,000 hopes. Her voice mingled with the rising tide of heartfelt supplications. Around her, the villagers stepped forward, some forward in leaps of faith, others shuffling slowly, uncertain yet irresistible. The vicar's voice, steady and unwavering, rose above the crowd. "Whatever you are carrying, whatever burden weighs heavy upon your soul, leave it here before the altar. The Lord is here to heal." Mary's heart quickened as she reached the front. The vicar looked deep into her eyes, and she felt a flood of warmth rush over her. "You're not just seeking healing for yourself," he said, his voice gentle yet firm. "Your faith will act as a bridge for others. Stand firm and let your light shine." As the vicar intoned a prayer, urging the faithful to cast aside their fears, a radiant warmth enveloped the church. It was as if the very light of heaven had broken through, wrapping each individual in the soft embrace of divine love. Mary felt as though she was stepping into a river of grace, each ripple caressing her spirit, reminding her of the promises held within the tome. In that moment, her eyes were drawn to her husband. The shadows seemed to clutch at him, yet the flickering flames of candles danced brightly around the edges of his figure. Mary willed him to feel what she felt to step forth from despair into the light of healing. And just as she thought it, she saw a glimmer of recognition in his eyes, a flicker of struggle, but equally a hint of yearning. "Come, Peter, the light is here," she cried, her voice trembling but resolute. For a heartbeat, the congregation held its breath, their hearts collectively whispering prayers. Peter remained frozen, caught in a battle between the darkness he wore and the light that beckoned. But Mary felt something shift, an awakening within her spirit that echoed the truth of the tome. Love conquers all. With every ounce of love in her heart, she focused on her husband. "I believe in you. You are more than your struggles. We can walk this path together." Her voice broke through the clouds of doubt, brightening the air around them. Slowly, Peter took a step forward. It was hesitant at first, a shaky offering of trust. The weight of a lifetime seemed to rest upon that single movement, yet around him, the congregation surged in encouragement. As Peter took another step, the entire church erupted in applause, mingling with prayers of fervent hope. Mary felt her heart swell as the warmth of collective faith ignited around them. The flickering light grew brighter, expanding to encompass them both. It was as if the Spirit of God had descended to lift them from the depths of despair into the promise of healing and transformation. But just as Peter began to stride towards her, a shadow loomed behind him, whispering words of doubt and fear. "You don't belong here. You'll never be healed." Mary's heart sank at the familiar voice of despair. Would these insidious whispers steal away the moment they had waited for? She felt tears stinging her eyes, but amidst the darkness, hope remained flickering. Accompanied by the rising chorus of prayer, she closed her eyes and breathed deeply. "God, break these chains. Release him from the shadows." The air trembled, and just as the light seemed poised to engulf them all, a new understanding began to blossom within her. What if the healing they sought was not just for the body, but a transformation of the spirit, of belief itself? Would this miracle, this step toward freedom, ignite a wave of faith that would ripple through their entire community? Would Mary and all of them see the truth of divine intervention unfold before their eyes? The climax of faith and doubt balanced precariously in that sacred space. How far they had come, yet how far they still had to go. The next step hung heavy in the air, waiting to reveal what God had in store for them all. What deeper truths would emerge as they stepped into the light? Would they emerge united, carried forth on the winds of faith, or would shadows linger to dim their path? Mary stood at the altar, her heart pounding as she watched Peter wrestling with the dark force that clung to him. The congregation's whispers grew louder, each one a soft encouragement pressing him forward. "You are not alone," echoed in the air, mingling with Mary's fervent prayers. With her eyes fixed on Peter, she sensed a shift, a change in the atmosphere. She could almost feel angels stirring around them, pulling back the veils of darkness, revealing the profound power of collective faith. The vicar raised his hands, inviting all to extend their voices higher, to lift their hearts together. "Look around you, dear ones," he implored, his voice booming with authority and love. "The presence of the Lord is here. When we unite in faith, miracles happen." Mary caught sight of neighboring villagers, their faces illuminated by shared hope. She could see tears flowing freely, not from despair, but from the purest form of joy, a recognition that God was stirring in their midst. "Come on, Peter," she called again, her voice carrying the weight of her unwavering belief. "Step into this light. Leave the shadows behind." He hesitated, but then, deep within him, a flicker sparked a remembering of who he truly was beneath the burden. As he turned slightly, Mary saw that his face softened, washed clean by emotion. For a heartbeat, he looked as if he might turn back. But then something shifted. The air seemed to vibrate with unearthly whispers. They were not words, but a deep connection, drawing him into the warmth and light. Mary felt her spirit leap. "Let love lead you," she shouted with passion, feeling it resonate through the core of the congregation. "Love breaks every chain. You are worthy." With that, Peter took another step, and the darkness that loomed behind him shrieked a spasm of fury that shattered the quiet. Yet the applause from the villagers surged louder, drowning out the cries of despair. Mary felt the ground beneath her trembling, not with fear, but with the power of possibility. The once heavy air lifted as Peter stepped into the light, encased not just in his wife's love, but in the collective spirit of hope from the body of believers surrounding him. A sudden, radiant glow enveloped them, pulling the shadows back and illuminating their path. "Lord, thank you for your provision." Mary breathed, her heart swelling with gratitude. A new understanding blossomed. This moment was their transformation, not just Peter's. It was a defining moment for the entire community. Hands stretched out from those gathered, a tapestry of faithful souls intertwining in their desire for healing. Mary felt the warmth of their connections. Shared hopes became the linens of an altar built from courageous faith. They were no longer individuals battling their burdens. They were a collective body, standing firm in their belief. Then suddenly, Peter halted, a conflicted look crossing his face. "What if I falter?" The fear was palpable. It echoed in his eyes. "Then we lift you up," Mary exclaimed, feeling empowered. "Together, we rise. Together, we believe." With the vicar's commanding voice echoing encouragement, she raised her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks, calling out again, "Peter, walk. The light is your guide." And like the breaking of dawn, Peter stepped forward, realizing that behind him, the shadows were fleeting. As he moved towards Mary, the congregation erupted, not just in applause, but in heartfelt worship. It was beautiful, a chorus of hope, a reflection of unity. But from the depths of her joy, a whisper of uncertainty sliced through. In the midst of their celebration, Mary pondered if they had truly set Peter free. What if the shadows found a way to linger, waiting for another moment of weakness? The question hung in the air, thick with spiritual urgency. Could faith truly conquer the shadows that threatened their every step? Mary knew this was only the beginning. The journey ahead beckoned, layered with deeper truths and challenges that lay just beyond the light. What awaited them around the next corner? Would their faith be enough, or was there more for them to discover in the realm of divine healing? The atmosphere thrummed with an electric vibrancy, a delicate mix of hope and trepidation. As Peter approached Mary, it was as if he was stepping not just toward her, but toward a new reality, a realm where light danced playfully with shadows. Yet, the lingering doubt clung to the edges of Mary's heart, whispering questions she didn't want to hear. "Together, we rise," she repeated softly, grounding herself amidst the echoes of celebration around her. The villagers were united, their voices harmonizing in a beautiful symphony of worship. But could they truly uphold their faith against the hidden fears waiting patiently within? Peter finally reached Mary, his hand trembling as he reached for hers. What if he began, barely above a whisper, "What if the darkness was a part of me? What if it comes back?" Her gaze locked onto his, the warmth radiating from their hands, creating a bridge. "Then we fight," she replied, firm in her resolve. "Not just you, but all of us. We face it together." It felt like a promise, a spiritual bond infused with the weight of their united strength. The vicar stepped closer, sensing the tension in the air. Remember this moment. Each of you carries the light within. When one stumbles, the body lifts them, for we are stronger together than apart. His words were powerful, reverberating through the hearts assembled. Let us declare it out loud. He urged, raising his voice higher. This is our moment of faith. We are conquerors. Conquerors. The crowd echoed back, their voices rising like flames, flickering and dancing with fervor. In that moment, Mary felt a shift within herself. The whispers of doubt slowly began to drown beneath the roar of shared faith. It was a chorus of strength, a beautiful tapestry woven together by prayer and belief. Yet, just as the spirit began to rise, Mary felt a chill drift through. It was fleeting, a wisp of air brushing against her skin, but it carried with it an unsettling reminder fears could return uninvited. She glanced at Peter, who was still processing the waves of emotions washing over him. Every day will be a battle, won't it? He asked, his voice steadying. A constant choice to stand in the light? Absolutely, she said, brushing her fingers against his cheek, reassuring him with her presence. But that's the beauty of this journey. Each day is a choice, and every choice brings us closer to God's grace. Around them, the congregation understood, nodding, sharing glances of determination. It finally clicked: their faith was a living, breathing testament, forged in both the light and the struggle. This moment, this connection, was one of resilience, an awakening to the deeper truths of freedom and battle. Then let us declare our freedom. The vicar encouraged, lifting his arms, motioning for everyone to join. United, they began chanting grateful praises, words of victory spilling out. Mary closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of countless hearts beating as one. The tension began to dissolve like morning mist under a bright sun. Yet in the back of her mind, the question resurfaced. Would tomorrow bring new trials? Would their collective strength hold when faced with the unknown? As they lifted their voices, an unexpected clarity broke through the reverberation. The truth, unveiled amidst the joyful cries, ignited something deep within her spirit. They needed guidance. They needed to explore further, beyond their current understanding, to unlock the mysteries waiting patiently in the shadows of their hearts. They had stumbled upon a glimpse, but this journey was far from over. What truths awaited them around the next corner? What did God desire from his faithful? And with that vibrant surge of hope driving her, Mary felt a divine nudge deep in her soul, hinting that the answers lay just beyond their reach, ready to be revealed. The gathering surged with renewed energy, like the rustling leaves stirred by a gentle breeze. Hearts were pounding with a sense of purpose, each beat echoing a shared commitment to embrace the journey ahead. Mary opened her eyes to a sky splashed with colors of sunset, the vibrant hues reminding her of the beauty that can evolve from darkness. We must seek the heart of our faith, she declared, her voice clear and confident. Let us build our foundation on truths that can withstand every wave of doubt. The villagers nodded, their faces brightening like lamps being freshly fueled. Peter's grip tightened around her hand. It was as if, together, they drew strength from the very ground they stood upon. What truths, Mary? Where do we begin? His eyes sparkled with curiosity, igniting the spark of exploration within her. Let us look to the stories we hold dear, she suggested, glancing at the vicar, who appeared energized by her words. Each tale speaks of trials turning to triumphs, how God walked with his people, even through the darkest nights. The vicar stepped forward, his presence commanding yet gentle. What a beautiful thought! Stories of old are not just memories. They are pathways to understanding God's heart. Let us share what we know. Every story can shed light on hidden truths. As voices began to rise in a chorus of remembrance, Mary thought about Abraham's unwavering faith, David's courage against Goliath, and Esther standing up for her people. Each narrative wove together, forming a rich tapestry of faithfulness. We must remember God's promises, she urged, urging the villagers to dig deeper. He has never left us. His guidance is forever. It's the open door to our choices not set in stone, but illuminated by his love. With each shared memory, the congregation began to lean into the collective strength. For every challenge recounted, fresh conviction surged through them. Stories turned into declarations of faith. One villager spoke of a healed heart. Another recounted a miraculous provision. See, even in our struggles, his goodness is evident. The vicar proclaimed, his voice booming with passion. Gratitude filled the air, and Mary felt a tangible lightness seep in her heart. As they spoke, a hush fell over the group, the atmosphere transforming once again. It was as if the very heavens leaned in closer, listening to this newfound resolve. Mary felt that same thrill, the chilling reminder from moments before, faded into the background. Instead, she felt hope bubbling within her, a sense that they were being ushered forward. Let us ask for him to reveal more. Spoke another voice, heartfelt and fervent. We need to seek God together. Yes, Mary exclaimed, a fire igniting in her soul. Let us pray. May our request be bold, seeking the wisdom, clarity, and courage for the battles ahead. With heads bowed and eyes closed, they formed a circle, hands clasped tightly. Mary felt every heartbeat as they prayed collectively. Each whisper became a thread connecting them, binding their spirits together with threads of faith. In that modest space, Mary sensed a shift. Something divine was in reach, an invitation to perceive the unseen, a call to future discoveries. For blinked moments, the essence of unity felt palpable. The prayer crescendoed into an ecstatic heartbeat, entwining them all in sacred connection. And in that overwhelming quietness, something remarkable happened. A chilling comfort flowed through her, hinting that profound changes were yet to unfold. What revelations awaited? What deeper understanding lay just beyond the veil? With anticipation coursing through her veins, Mary dared to imagine the profound truths nestled in God's heart. But then it came. A sudden, unearthly breeze surged, stirring her, unveiling a whisper of divine secrets, eager to unveil themselves to those who would listen. As the breeze wrapped around them, a hush filled the circle. The air crackled with an electric energy, infusing the moments with palpable power. Mary wondered if everyone felt it, this magnetic pull, the sacred reverberation. She opened her eyes slowly, scanning the faces of her companions. Each one reflected a unique blend of awe and anticipation, the light from the setting sun casting their features in a soft glow. "Can you feel it?" Peter whispered, as if afraid to break the sacred atmosphere. "It's like a doorway is opening." "Yes," Mary breathed, her pulse quickening. "It's as though the presence of God is pressing in closer, inviting us to something greater." The vicar raised his hand, signaling for silence. "Shoo, let us listen. The Lord may be trying to speak." In the stillness, they waited. Every breath felt like a prayer, every heartbeat resonating with longing. Mary closed her eyes again, straining to hear the soft murmurs of what lay beyond the veil. Then, like a gentle whisper carried on the wind, words floated to her consciousness. "Seek the mysteries. Open your hearts to the truths I shall reveal." "Lord, what do you want us to know?" she thought, hoping the yearning in her heart reached the heavens. The atmosphere swelled, thick with divine promise. As if responding, one by one, a sequence of images danced before Mary's mind. Laughter echoing in a sunlit field, tears rolling down a cheek during prayer, hands helping another in need. Each vision seemed to ripple with a deeper significance, inviting exploration. Finally, as her heart raced, a clarity broke forth. 8 truths, 8 divine principles that must awaken within us, she murmured, a new sense of purpose igniting her spirit. God wants us to awaken to these truths. 8 truths? Peter echoed curiously, his brow furrowed. Were they? How do we discover them? Mary took a steadying breath, excitement bubbling within her. "I believe we ought to seek each one out, like gems hidden in the earth. Each will shine with its own light. We can start with the first, his unending love. A collective nod rippled through the group as they reacted to her words. Love, the heartbeat of faith. And the second, Mary continued, is faithfulness. The way he stands by us, even in our doubts. Voices rose again, echoing her sentiments. The energy expanded, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. That leads us to the third truth, hope, the anchor for our souls during storms. The villagers murmured in agreement, their faith lifting them higher. As they delved deeper into their shared revelations, a sweet harmony filled the air. Their faith blossomed like wildflowers, vibrant and alive, each newly discovered truth stirring excitement and joy. Each principle they rattled off became a declaration, binding their hearts as one. Mary's mind raced with the possibilities around them. Peace, grace, transformation, purpose, and joy. Each held the potential to change not just their hearts, but their lives. But amidst this fervor, a question gnawed at her. With each truth illuminated, what would the implications be? What divine plans lay ahead, waiting for their response? Suddenly, an idea sparked wildly in her soul. What if revealing the eighth truth unlocks the door to our next phase? She proposed. Before she could finish the thought, a shadow flitted through her mind. What if the eighth truth was about trust? And she wondered what deeper understanding would trust unveil. They paused, contemplative. The air felt thick with holy anticipation, and the vessel of their faith was ready to set sail into uncharted waters. What awaited them on this mysterious journey? Would they have the courage to embrace what was to come? The stillness hung in the air, pregnant with expectation. As Mary's heart thumped, she sensed that every soul surrounding her was engaged in the same holy dialogue. The harmony of their spirits felt like a gentle tide, pulling them closer together. Trust, she whispered, the word a sacred balm that seemed to quiet every anxious thought. Trust is the foundation. Isn't it? It's how we step forward into the unknown. Peter glanced around the group, his eyes searching, almost pleading. But how do we cultivate trust? What if we falter along the way? Mary felt a wave of compassion wash over her for her dear friend. Trust isn't a one-time decision. It's a choice we make every day. Every moment we let go of fear to embrace faith, we are building that trust. The evening light was now fading, casting long shadows that danced at their feet, a reflection of their path ahead. Each member of the group seemed lost in thought, pondering their own journey of trust. The vicar finally broke the silence, a warm smile spreading across his face. You're right, Mary. It's in the act of trusting that we truly meet God. Faith becomes real when it carries us through uncertain times. Each truth we uncover strengthens our relationship with the divine. An understanding flowed among them, the kind that resonates deep within the heart of a believer. The possibility of stepping into these truths was exhilarating, like a child peering into a world filled with wonders. But what about the fourth truth? Someone called out, breaking the spell of contemplation. The excitement sparked again, the thread of revelation binding them ever tighter. Mary clapped her hands together, shaking off the weight of uncertainty. Yes, the fourth truth is transformation. God loves us far too much to leave us as we are. Each trial, each blessing, is a step towards becoming who we were meant to be. The villagers nodded, the energy shifting to a spirit of engagement. Ideas bubbled to the surface as stories of personal transformations spilled forth, how kindness opened their hearts, how prayer had led them through dark nights, and how embracing love had healed wounds long untouched. Peter stood, his expression illuminated with clarity. And I think the fifth truth is purpose. God has a unique path for each of us, a calling to make the world better. When we discover our purpose, we thrive. Yes, Mary exclaimed, her heart swelling. Purpose fuels us, it ignites passion, and unites us in this great tapestry of faith. What better way to serve God than to know we're doing what He designed us for? A chorus of voices rose, echoing the sentiment, purpose, purpose, purpose. Yet, within that joy, Mary felt the tug of their earlier contemplation. There was a weight of reverence amid their excitement. Hidden beneath their journey lay deep questions about the unfolding of it all. What valleys might they have to walk through to reveal these divine truths? What sacrifices would be asked of them? As they settled into this new thought, a kinship formed in the circle, a sacred trust brewing among them. Together, inspired by the truths awakened, they stood at the precipice of a great unveiling. What, then, Mary murmured softly, will the sixth truth reveal? What will God ask us to embrace next? The circle leaned in, the air crackling with divine energy yet again. As the stars began twinkling in the sky above, the promise of the unknown beckoned. What awaited them in the discovery of truth number 6? Would they have the strength to walk boldly into it? The atmosphere shifted as if the very heavens were tuning in to their collective inquiry. Mary felt a stirring in her heart, a sweet anticipation of divine whisper. What if the sixth truth is about love? An unconditional, unyielding love that binds us together and shows us the way? Her words hung in the air, rich with possibility. Peter's brow furrowed. Love does guide us, but in what manner? How can we fully grasp this deep, abiding love in our daily lives? Isn't love often tangled with fear? The vicar responded gently, but therein lies the beauty, Peter. Love and fear are opposites. Where fear dwells, love casts out shadows. To embrace love is to step into light, illuminating our path forward. Nods of understanding passed around the circle. The stars above seemed to twinkle in acknowledgement, as if affirming the vicar's insight. Mary felt her spirit lift. Love was not just an abstract idea, but a palpable force, transforming hearts and mending wounds. A soft voice piped up from the back. But how do we love when it's hard? When we face rejection or pain? How does that fit into the truth we're discovering? The question settled over the group like a warm blanket, eliciting a quiet reverence. Mary's thoughts deepened. She thought of the time she had struggled to love those who had hurt her. She remembered the lessons learned through forgiveness, the light that had flooded her soul afterwards. Sometimes, she began slowly, love is a choice. Even when it's difficult, choosing to love is an act of faith. We must forgive ourselves as much as we forgive others. Love can convert bitterness into grace and light. At that moment, another voice rose, filled with conviction. Perhaps that's the unifying thread connecting all the truths we've found. Trust melds into love, which leads us into purpose and transformation. Excitement rippled like a breeze through the gathering. Mary smiled at the spark igniting in everyone's eyes. Exactly. Each truth feeds into the next, intertwining our journeys and guiding us back to God's heart. All of this pulls us toward a greater understanding. As they pondered this interconnection, a hush fell over them. They gazed upwards, lost in the beauty of the starlit sky, which seemed to be reflecting their own burgeoning light. A profound stillness resonated within them, a sacred pause where the whispers of the divine could be felt. The vicar took a deep breath, his voice steady and rich. We are weaving a tapestry of trust, love, purpose, and transformation. And as we wrap ourselves around these truths, we will find strength amid trials, comfort in darkness, and courage to step into the unknown. A murmur of agreement circled the group, hearts alight with hope and faith. Yet, beneath that hope, a stirring uncertainty lingered. What other truths lay just beyond their reach? What deeper, perhaps more challenging revelations awaited them amid their loving embrace? As the moon cast a silvery glow upon their circle, they felt the pull of a divine mystery. With each truth they had unearthed, they had come closer to something profound. And now they stood, eager yet anxious, on the brink of discovering the seventh truth. What will it reveal? Mary wondered aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. What challenges will it hold for us, and how will we emerge transformed? As the night deepened, the breath of heaven seemed to sigh around them, ready to unveil another layer of their spiritual journey. The sacred adventure was far from over. As the celestial tranquility wrapped around the village of Southwell, an expectant hush spread among the gathered souls. The congregation hearts knit together braced for the unveiling of truth number 7. They stood on the brink of spiritual discovery, longing to grasp whatever divine insight awaited them. What will the seventh truth reveal? Mary mused, her voice trembling with anticipation. She felt the warmth of their collective faith radiating through the air, a palpable energy that lifted them closer to the divine. Peter, still holding Mary's hand tightly, searched the faces surrounding them. It feels like a weight is pressing, urging us to listen deeper, he said, eyes alight with wonder. Indeed, the vicar replied, his voice rich with authority. Let's seek it together. If we believe that God reveals himself in moments like these, then we must prepare our hearts for revelation. What is the heart of God calling us to understand? In the silence that followed, the night seemed to come alive. The flickering stars above, the whispering leaves and the gentle breeze, all bore witness to their unity and eagerness for understanding. The air vibrated, thick with expectation, and Mary felt the current of divine wisdom swirling around them. Then it came, like a sudden gust of wind, the thought pierced Mary's consciousness. She stepped forward, her heart racing. Maybe the seventh truth speaks to our identity in Christ. It could signify the powerful truth of belonging. We are beloved children, heirs to his kingdom. A ripple of recognition coursed through the congregation. Nods of agreement echoed, each member absorbing the profound weight of identity found in the Creator's love. Yes, shouted a voice from the crowd, bolstered by the sudden thrill. When we understand who we are in him, we find freedom. We are not defined by our failures or fears. Mary beamed, her spirit ignited by the fervor. This is it. When we awaken to our true identity, the darkness that clings to us fades in the light of his grace. It transforms our perspective and shatters the chains we wear. With every heartbeat, more villagers began to swell with inspiration, memories of God's declarations echoing in their minds. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I have called you by name. You are my chosen people. Even Peter's eyes glistened with renewed hope. As children of God, we possess unshakable worth. It's our birthright. The vicar nodded, his demeanor radiating encouragement. And this truth unearths the eighth, the completeness of God's love. We are lavished upon with grace in our imperfections. The eighth truth is redemption. It's not just who we are, but what he has done for us. A collective gasp echoed across the gathering, a beautiful realization. Mary felt the weight of their shared burdens lifting, like clouds dispersing at dawn, revealing a clear blue sky. Redemption granted freely, by grace offered them the power to see their lives through God's lens. Every wound, every struggle has purpose when redeemed. Someone called out, voices rising like prayers of gratitude. He takes our shattered pieces and makes us whole. The vicar raised his hands, drawing their attention once again. And in that wholeness, each of us becomes a testimony, a living beacon of his love and light. Mary's heart soared. She envisioned the church as a lighthouse, casting beams of hope into the darkness, guiding lost souls home. It solidified her belief that not only were they called into individual healing, but collectively to shine brighter together. She imagined her husband, Peter, his burdens eased, stepping boldly into this identity, a valued member of their family of faith. How incredible it is, she breathed, her voice a proclamation of joy, that our struggles don't define us, they lead us to our testimony of faith. Our story becomes the instrument of his glory. Let us rejoice together, shouted a villager, arms raised high, a clarion call of celebration. The group erupted into applause, laughter spilling forth, echoing like a symphony through the night air. Yet amid the floods of joy, a serene clarity settled over them, commanding attention. Mary met Peter's gaze, sensing the weight of their profound moment, realizing that while the truth of redemption was a splendid treasure, the journey of embracing it would still call them to answer the challenges within. Tomorrow is a new dawn for all of us, she concluded, breathing in the energy of hope. We must choose to lift each other as we walk this path of faith, a path fortified by these truths. Redemption is always offered, but the embracing act is ours to take. Together, they stood as a community, bodies linked in faith as the first stars twinkled above. They felt the collective fabric of their identities woven into a vibrant tapestry of love, grace, and courage, a masterpiece reflecting their Savior's glory. And so, on that fateful night, the village of Southwell was reborn not just as a collection of souls struggling together, but as a powerful family of faith, ready to face whatever lies ahead, anchored in the divine truths revealed through their collective journey. This was their moment, this was the beginning. And now it's your moment too. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Be a part of our community. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this divine message. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. We value your thoughts. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second to share the light. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.